Boom, baby! In the 90s, Disney brought in the Disney Renaissance, a period for Disney in which, in some of their most acclaimed works, like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, and so on, by the 2000 decade came on board, so was the end of the Disney Renaissance, and a new chapter where Disney tried to experiment with more unique genres like sci-fi action films like Atlantis and Treasure Planet. But before those films, there was this simple, goofy comedy where, despite not being as ambitious as other Disney films before, managed to become one of their most iconic franchises of all time. That being The Emperor's New Groove. But before we get into the Palace of Kuzco, let's see where it all began. And boy, are its origins quite fascinating. It all started back in 1994 after the massive hit that was The Lion King. Director Roger Allers was called into Thomas Schumacher's office to discuss about future Disney animated features. One idea was centered around Incan culture. It was called Kingdom of the Sun, an animated epic musical film with a story similar to The Prince and the Pauper. It was about a kind-hearted peasant named Pacha, who was voiced by Owen Wilson, who meets a selfish prince named Mongo, Kuzco's original name, who both realize that they look alike and decide to switch places, but also have to deal with an evil sorceress named Yzma, who turns the emperor into a llama and plots to destroy the sun to regain her youth. And now they have to find a way to stop Yzma while keeping their secret. Allers had everything ready to produce this ambitious Disney film. A unique Incan style, a dark and serious tone, Sting writing the songs like how Elton John did for The Lion King, an all-star cast like Owen Wilson, David Spade, Eartha Kitt, Harvey Firestone, etc. Everything was going his way, or so he thought. Because of the disappointments of Disney's other films like Hunchback and Pocahontas, other series Disney films, and because the higher-ups didn't take well to this film, the execs felt that this wasn't working, forcing them to start back at the bottom, which makes it worse since they had the film half done, which made the team that worked on this film leave the project, including Allers himself. The only one who stayed behind was the co-director of this film, Mark Dendell, who had previously directed the WB film Cats Don't Dance. For this new take, they decided to go with a comedic tone in the vein of a Looney Tunes cartoon, ditching the drama, aging up Pacha as a middle-aged man, giving Yzma a new henchman called Kronk, who was originally a little stone tiki guy, and ditching the musical songs. The only things that were kept in the film were the characters of Yzma and Mongo, now called Kuzco, the llama idea, and especially the Incan art style. After 5 long years of development, the film was finally released, called The Emperor's New Groove. Released on December 15, 2000. Set in Mesoamerica, a selfish emperor called Kuzco has been turned into a llama by his former advisor who wants to steal the throne. So he and a kind-hearted peasant named Pacha must go on a quest to reclaim his throne and learn a thing or two about selflessness. What made The New Groove stand out as a Disney film was its more unique comedic edge. While previous Disney films had comedic moments before, this was Disney's first full-on comedy where the humor was top priority. It did receive positive reviews from critics, mainly for its voice acting from David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha Kitt, and Patrick Warburton, and especially the comedy. But at the box office, while it wasn't a huge failure, it wasn't as successful as Lion King with only $169.7 million. However, after the film was released in theaters, it became a huge hit on home media, being one of the best-selling home media releases of 2001, and even get nominated for an Oscar for Best Song. Kuzco and others would even make appearances in the crossover series The House of Mouse. In 2005, Disney Toons released a sequel called The Kronk's New Groove, which focuses on Kronk as he tries to please his disapproving father. It features many of the original cast from the first film, and even features some new characters like Miss Birdwell. This would be John Fiedler's last role as Rudy before his death earlier that same year. You may know him better as Piglet from the Winnie the Pooh franchise. A month later, on January 27, 2006, a series aired called The Emperor's New School. In here, Kuzco must graduate Kuzco Academy in order to reclaim his throne, while Yzma, who is disguised as the principal, tries everything in her power to make sure that Kuzco fails school. It features many of the characters from the first film, while also featuring tons of new characters like Milena, while also featuring the same humor as the previous films. While the show was split by critics, it did get 2 Annies and 2 Daytime Emmys for Eartha Kitt's performance as Yzma. This would also be one of her last roles before her death in December 2008. A month after the show ended, in November, earlier in 2002, there was a documentary called The Sweatbox, which dives into the time when this film was still called Kingdom of the Sun. It was directed by Sting's wife, Judy Slater. Yzma made some appearances in Disney rides and events like The Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom in 2012 and Max Live, getting goofy with it in 2018, with Leslie Cara Rudolph voicing her. In 2023, many of the characters would appear in the short Once Upon a Studio, with even Kuzco having a saying in the short. Looking back, it's quite funny that it was going to be a completely different film turned to one of the most beloved Disney films of all time, with many people still quoting the many lines and even becoming some memes. Maybe not their most successful, but still beloved nonetheless. Tune in next time, because here to the stars, to buy candy bars, rides a kid with a knack for inventions.